you guys hear me okay? Should I turn up the volume a little bit? You guys hear me? Go ahead. Good. You guys can hear me? Thumbs up in the back. Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. Good morning. In less than an hour, aircraft from here will join others from around the world, and you will be launching the largest aerial balloon in the history of mankind. Mankind. That should have a new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in common interest. Perhaps it's fate that today is the 4th of July, and you will once again be fighting for we are fighting for the right to. We will not go quietly into the night. We will not. I'm sorry. I thought I printed out my speech, and I ended up printing out the speech from the blockbuster smash hit Independence Day in 1996, starring Bill Pullman.
Carry on.
I'll get it. That day, for no particular reason, I decided to go for a little run. So I ran to the end of the road, and when I got there, I thought I might run to the end of town. And when I got there, I thought maybe I'd just run across Rainbow County. And as I figured, since I run this far, maybe I'll just run across the great state of Alabama. And that's what I did. I ran clear across Alabama. For no particular reason, I just kept going. I ran clear to I'm sorry, that's from Forrest Gump, the heartfelt rom-com. I don't understand how this picture's got mixed in here. This third one's got to be it. Yeah, here it is. It says term in fall 2017, so that must be the right one. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. This is a chance to see what your students have been up to this year, to celebrate the students and each other. A chance for all the wonderful people in our community to meet up, hang out, and ultimately be supportive of the whole reason we're here, which are these scholars in front of us. Real quick, I want to thank the extending community for coming out tonight and for the board. Thank you so much. And I want to introduce the staff real quick. First and foremost, we have Tanya, our academic coordinator, and Kathy, our multitasking guru. I have to apologize to Kathy and Tanya for being such a time-consuming. I promised we'd be done by 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Time-consuming 8 o'clock. They're not all winners. Okay. So without further ado, Tanya and Kathy.
supporting them in leaving this school to contribute
guys ready to go? Yeah? All right. Yeah, we got it. Okay. Real quick, I wanted to introduce the other faculty on board. Over here we got Jenny O'Toole, or J.O. That's with our Spanish department. The first conversation I had with J.O. involved me asking if soy milk was the way that they introduced themselves in Spanish. All right, Marley. Marley's over here. Marley's here. She's one of our English teachers, and she's amazing. I first met Marley on the backpacking camping trip, actually. We would run around the campgrounds and wrestle at the students. We would run around the campground and wrestle at the students. Well, actually, we ran because it was past tense. What? Where's Frank? Where's Frank? Yeah, there he is, right there. Frank. He's the math scholar of the place. If you don't know Frank, you probably don't know that he's the most learned man in the room. He has so many careers, including most recently, he's been a math teacher and a farmer. And when I asked him how he could be both a math teacher and a farmer at the same time, he said something about square roots. Okay. And then where's Allie? Allie, there she is, right there. Allie, she's our Spanish teacher. Next year, she's going to be leading a food cluster unit. Round of applause. Me and Allie, we take food very seriously, so we do some restaurant work. We go and check out different restaurants. We actually went to a restaurant on the moon the other day, and it was great food, but just had no atmosphere. Did we open up the back door? Do you know if we opened up the back door for people to come in, or is everybody coming through the front? Did anybody go through the back door, or is everybody coming through the front and have to take the stairs? Everybody took the stairs? I was going to tell a joke about the stairs. You know what's great about jokes about stairs is that it just works on so many levels. Okay, first and foremost, we're going to have the scholars do the presentations now. Each subject had a couple of scholars that are getting attached to the subject. So first and foremost, we're going to have the English cluster, which is going to be, is Alex sick tonight? Yes. Okay, so it's going to be Josie and Casey. Can you give me a round of applause, please?
Hi, I'm Josie, and this is Casey. We are going to tell you about our English class this term. This term we had a meaning and purpose cluster, and I don't think that I'm exaggerating when I say it went extremely well, like with our tests. The meaning and purpose cluster consists of religion, illustrated literature classes, or books, which was one where we looked at several different books and religions. We also had an evolution and ecology science class. We looked at the possible overlap between science and religion, and a crossroad and conversion social studies class. When we looked at the overlap between different religions and religious literature.
This term, we did many interesting things and read many interesting books. The first one that we read in this class was Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. Siddhartha is a book about a young boy, Siddhartha, who was raised very rich. He then realizes that he is unhappy with his life of leisure and sets out on a journey to find himself and his religion. This book wasn't just a good read, but it was also extremely relevant to our cluster since it was about religion and enlightenment.
After Siddhartha, we read the first chapter of Persepolis by Mary Jane Strachey. Persepolis is a graphic novel about a young girl in Iran with big dreams and aspiration about religion and a world changing gently around her.
And then after that book, or at least the first chapter of that book, we read The Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. This book is an allegory wrapped in a dystopian sci-fi about a teenager named Lauren trying to get people to follow her beliefs to make the world a better place and to help people survive.
After all of these books have to do with religion, although in very different ways.
For example, in Siddhartha, the main character, Siddhartha, was trying to find his religion and purpose in the world.
And in Persepolis, the main character, Mary Jane, hadn't much knowledge as a child of religion, so she used her imagination to add her own elements to it.
And then finally, in The Parable of the Sower, Lauren had a concept of her religion she was creating and tried to gather a group to follow her.
After we read all these books, we all wrote our own allegories based off of the knowledge we got from the books. And using our own experiences as well as our imagination, we wrote our allegories. An allegory, for those who might not know, is a story or a poem that usually has hidden meanings, and the meanings usually are political or moral. Every student put a lot of effort into creating their writing of their analogy.
Thank you for listening to our presentation on
Our English cluster.
Marley really pushes these students really hard in English, and she always tells them, like she's a particular says, like double negatives are a big no-no. Knock knock.
Who's there?
To.
To who?
No, to whom? Honestly, I was never very good at English. I only learned 25 of the letters. I don't know why. All right, next up, we got scholars coming up. They're going to do the science cluster. That'll be Tara, Miles, and Evan. So please give them a round of applause.
So we're going to be talking about our evolution and ecology class, which is our science class for this cluster. So first, we learned about invasive species. So an invasive species is defined as a non-native species that causes harm to the environment around it. Now, who can guess an invasive species local to here?
Himalayan blackberry.
I did. You did good.
There are 3 types of blackberry plants that are in Washington right now. 2 of those are invasive. Blackberries are usually spread by birds picking up blackberry seeds and dropping them, or from birds eating them and leaving little droppings in different places. The blackberries are killing other plants and animals by taking over their habitat. The blackberry plant has evolved to have thorns to fend off different types of species that want a little taste of the sweet and delicious blackberry.
So who can guess the next invasive species? Yeah.
The Scotch broom plant is a plant that many of our population are allergic to. Scotch broom is also an invasive species from Europe and is very problematic where it is invasive. This means that it is spreading too fast and is out of control in the ecosystem that it's taking over. The species is causing massive habitat damage and is very fun. It is also toxic to livestock.
Who can guess the next species? It's an animal this time.
Squirrel.
No.
the grass.
Nope.
Cats.
No, not cats.
Yes, just like what our science teacher said. They destroy marshland. They can eat up to 25% of their body weight in like marshland every day. They're very aggressive and will chase people, other animals, deer, bigger beavers that are bigger than them, and anything out of their habitat, even going so far as to going into beavers' nests, killing their young and chasing them out. Yeah. Who can guess the next species?
Rabbit. Cat. 24.
It is the domestic cat. So domestic cats are very harmful to the environment. They kill over 23 billion animals per year in the U.S. alone. They're also responsible for spreading very harmful diseases and are contributing to the next mass extinction of small mammals. So then we did projects on our species of choice, where we got to study and learn everything about species and then present it to the class. So I did mine on coyotes, otherwise known as Canis latrans. They're a predatory canid native to the Americas, but are an invasive, problematic species everywhere. They're scavengers that will eat anything, livestock, garbage, small children, anything they can get their teeth around. They're very well adaptable and their numbers are out of control. They survive a lot better than their gray wolf relatives due to their size and adaptability.
So I chose the Steller's jay, and also known as the Cyanocida stellari. The Steller's jay is a part of the crows family that includes crows, ravens, and jays. The Steller's jay is not to be confused with any other jay. The Steller's jay is one of the special rural birds that uses mud to create their nests. They usually live from 3,000 to 10,000 feet in elevation. Steller's jays do not migrate. Instead, they fly to a lower elevation for winter. This type of jay eats a variety of seeds, nuts, berries, eggs, insects, and small rodents. Their favorite food is peanuts. If you ever want to attract one, just throw some peanuts out. They also weigh the peanuts to see which one is heaviest and the best to store for winter.
For my project, I chose morels since I know them and my dad is a mycologist and I like mushrooms. Here, the morel, here's a picture of morel, there are more. So the morels are a type of mushroom that has pits and ridges. The pits here, this, and the ridges are the outside parts, to increase surface area to allow a larger amount of spores. Morels grow on the edge of forested areas around ash, aspen, elm, and oak trees, often places where the land is rich with dirt. These are each different types of morels. I believe this is a black morel. They kind of live in recently burned areas. This picture doesn't flatter that much, I don't think. But, yeah. Most morels are edible, except for this one, which is a false morel. The difference is this one doesn't actually have pits, it just looks like a wrinkled piece of paper. I believe that they are a very delicious mushroom. My sister thinks they taste like burgers. Strangely enough. And all around good mushroom. They're also hollow on the inside, which is uncommon to some mushrooms. And also their caps, this part, is attached to the stem.
have any science cons. I will say though, if you're freezing, you can stay in the corner because it is 90 degrees there. They asked me if I had science puns, and they said maybe one about sodium. I was like, nah. All right, next up we got AV coming up. AV was our audio-visual elements, where we did audio-visual manipulation, and we are very happy to have a video by Joe Pesatero.
For our term project, me and Brian put together a little video that we constructed from using the finals from all the other students in the AV class, using the program DaVinci Resolve. Now I'll give you history of what we did. Our first project was making a comic strip using images we found online with the Photoshop program called GIMP. The second one was a trailer for a movie, which we made with DaVinci, and our third one was an audio script that we made using the free program Audacity, which we could download sounds online and add to our voice to make an audio edit. Pretty self-explanatory. But for this final project I made, I took clips from Saren, Miles, and Finnegan's finals. Saren made his final was about the Brant Goose. Very interesting. He also connected it to his science final, which was a smart move. Finnegan made his on a cat empire. I can't remember the exact name, but it was pretty good. Miles made the Audacity tutorial, which was also very informing and good. And I made a montage of Tara, mine, and Finn's, and Saren's. So you'll see that at the end. Thank you.
Predator to the nest. Just a little bit. Parents are so happy with that. Used to be that this snowy owl that has its eyes set on those little bright, which the parents are going to give up on very easily. He has given up, which is a short victory for the parents. This is just one of many predators along the way that will try to get the humans. when it's playing back the sound. So I click this to start the recording. So right now you can see it's recording my voice. So what this does is it takes it, it records it, and after you stop it, so stop. So you have this is your voice. This is what you're recording. So you go up there and click here, use this. This is like a select tool. So you select this and you can
thank all the AV kids for unknowingly letting me use their videos.
Nice job, dude. Joe's made a bunch of videos this year. He's almost like our little local director, first-time director. You know how many first-time directors it takes to screw in a light bulb? I don't know. What do you think?
Rosado. Rosado. Color rosado. Sí, sí. Muy bien.
Simón dice verde. El color indica verde.
Simón no dice. Pero. Dale, vamos a ver. Simón dice, toca el color blanco. Blanco. Toca blanco.
Indica color verde.
Simón indica el color rojo. Color rojo. Simón dice, siente. Simón dice, siente. Levanta, por favor. Claro. Simón dice, levanta. Bueno. Simón dice, indica el color azul. Azul. Alright. Simón dice, siéntate. Bueno.
Levanta.
Alrighty, you guys are too smart for us.
Those are some funny guys. But, Sam, do you know what piece of fruit actually laughs the most? You know what piece of fruit actually lasts the most? The naranja. conmigo. Vente means 20. I don't know if you know this, but I actually have a Spanish mathematician friend that was also an escape artist. He can make himself disappear. Uno, dos, disappear without a trace. Okay, next up we're going to have the expeditions cluster, which will be Martha, Amelia, and Zach. So give them a round of applause for them.
Oh yeah, sure. As a school, we go on many trips and excursions outside of the classroom. This fall and winter, we did 3 multi-day outings and a few other day trips.
As per Explorations Academy tradition, we kicked off the school year with a 3-day orientation to the Mount Baker Mountaineers Lodge. We began the trip with a 2-hour car ride into the depths of the North Cascades, followed by a short trek to our lodgings and an introduction to what we would be doing there. Day 2, we split into 2 groups, and beginning at either end of the trail, hiked the Chain Lakes Loop for a grand total of 5 miles. As many of you can remember, I'm sure. Around that time, the forest fires in Washington all along the west coast were so bad that we could hardly see, at times, we could hardly see 10 feet ahead of us, especially when the rain came, and this lasted for the duration of our time there. Day 3, it was time for us to pack up and leave. I'm sure it goes without saying another classic Explorations Academy tradition is that of leaving the places we inhabit cleaner than when we found them, save for our own building. This includes, but is not limited to, in fact, sweeping up mouse poop, a highlight of a couple of students. But on a more personal note, while these trips are a part of school, another huge aspect of them is social bonding. It's like we all fell in love with each other over that trip, describes a member of our community, and really it's true to an extent. I've never seen students connect more with each other than over trips, especially orientation. It provides us all with an opportunity to be vulnerable and in turn learn from one another, and I think that's beautiful. This community that we are all so graced to be a part of is definitely one of my favorite aspects of everyday life at school here. Although it was just a day trip, the second expedition with the school we would make this fall was to Viva Farms Incubator. Located in Burlington, Washington, this 45-acre farm specializes in helping small farmers expand and grow their businesses. Through providing education and the resources required, Viva Farms helps eliminate the normally steep price of startup and even offer bilingual classes. Whilst visiting, we tried to speak Spanish, although our lack of knowledge made it hard. Our hostess, who was so kind as to give us a tour, spoke to us primarily in Spanish and helped teach us new vocabulary even.
Two of our groups went opposite directions around the north end of Baker Lake. These are the groups. This is Baker Lake. The views of Baker Lake and the mountain reflecting into it were stunning. We hiked about 22 miles and slept under tarps and stars. Mornings were cold, but it warmed up by the afternoon. My group hiked a few extra miles than the other group to an even better campsite. To an even better final site. The hike was exhausting and fun. Well, at least for me, it was the exhausting part was fun. We found some deer bones at that site, but we weren't allowed to bring them home. The group that I was not in on the first day couldn't find their rope and spent more time than they should have trying to figure out a solution to storing the food. Like one of the options was hiding in the bathroom at the campsite. We began and ended our trip at Shadow of the Centennials Park. It was a nice warm-up and wind down to our trip. This was at Explorations, and this one here is also Explorations.
That's not an exploration.
Yeah, they're all, yeah, well, sorry.
So in November, we took a trip to Seattle, and we went on this trip both as one of our routine urban outings, but also as part of a small unit on human ecology. And we learned about city communities, but also how institutions help cities thrive. Oops. So there used to be a picture on here about this web that we had made up. I think I may have added it too late. This web of pictures that represent the different qualities of thriving cities. I think it was, one of them was about the law, and one of them was about art and beauty, and one of them was about education, things like that, that help make communities and cities thrive and grow. And so, on the first day in Seattle, we visited a community garden called Beacon Food Forest. And we learned about their work with the community to teach Seattle residents about gardening and provide food for those who need it. And then on that day, we took a trip on the light rail to the public library, where we were able to explore the amazing building and the selection of books that Seattle lets its residents utilize. And we got lost in that library. And then we stayed the night in the University Christian Church, which was very nice to host us. And then we attended a lecture at the next day. We attended a lecture at the University of Washington, and it was a philosophy class, and on the day we visited, they were discussing the rights of animals and whether animals should have human rights. And later that morning, we visited the Bird Museum, and we got to see many fossils and natural objects, including a T-Rex skull that was being uncovered from a block of plaster. And after eating our lunch and having another conversation about the qualities of cities, we went down to the Pike Place Market. We explored the market and we interviewed vendors about their experiences at the market. We then went back to the church to eat dinner and watch the movie Zootopia. We went to sleep, and the next morning we had one more outing to the Gates Foundation, the visitor center. And we learned all about world issues and how the organization is helping people all around the world. And we got to ride the monorail that day. That was pretty fun. And we packed up the buses and we rode home.
The trips we went on are bonding and bring our education further into the real world.
That's all.
So yeah, that's all, folks.
Nice to that expedition, people. So raise your hand if you're going to Ecuador next quarter. I think we have some merch on the back table, possible fundraising events. I'm surprised that you're not staying in hotels, being that. Yes. I'm surprised that they're not staying in hotels, being I thought they would want to avoid any hostile environments. One thing I'd like about the expeditions that we'd like to bring back is that I would like to bring back intercontinental partnership and write to students from other countries. Like when I was your age, I was in Penman with this very young lady from South Korea, and I honestly thought she was my soulmate. Okay, next up we're going to have the social studies cluster, which worked on religion this year, and that is going to be Forrest and Shay.
How many people does it take to undo a microphone? Apparently 3. So, in this first term of this year, in our social studies class, we studied religion, and this is the first term. And there's two clusters, as I said earlier, but this is the second cluster, but it's still the first term. It's confusing me. Anyways, we studied religion. We studied the three main religions we studied as a class were Buddhism, Islam, and Hinduism. Three of the Abrahamic religion. No, two of them were Abrahamic. Anyways, and then we also studied the 6 main traits that make up a religion. The first one being mystery. Mystery refers to what is unknown or unsure in the world.
Authority is the belief in a source of accountability and moral direction that comes from outside of the self.
The third one is grace. Grace refers to what that religion can offer followers, a sense of forgiveness and belonging.
Ritual is a way for people to connect to the celestial world and solidify agreements we make with ourselves and each other.
Tradition can be small to large celebrations or ceremonies that take place to keep the practice of a community.
Speculation means we create stories to explain where we came from and where we might be going.
We also chose a religion, or were given one, and we did a series of presentations on them. The shade here did.
I chose Satanism. I specifically researched Levian Satanism, and one of the most interesting things that I found out was they actually have no belief in an afterlife, but rather believe that one should enjoy life to its fullest.
And I chose go paganism, go Vikings. I chose go paganism mainly because they're awesome. And also the mythology is very fascinating. And Carolyn chose Jehovah's Witness. She cannot be here tonight because she is ill.
For our final project of the term, we created our own religions. This was a really cool project, and we had a lot of freedom with what we did. I named my religion Night Star. It's really interesting. I'm going to talk about it a little more later on.
I did a religion that my version I made is based on the fantasy one I make it called the Dark Green religion.
We weren't able to get any information on Carolyn's religion and feel that it would have been better for her to present on it herself. So, one of the most interesting parts of this was that I got to create a ritual, and as part of this, I went out to buy the stones involved. So the first is hematite. It represents the element of earth. Traits include physical grounding structure, blue calcite for wind or air, the sunstone for fire, blue aventurine for water, and Peterson for storm. Now, when I went and I looked for these stones, I wasn't able to find them all, but I did find and learn about the traits of some stones with similar properties. That's pretty much all I have, so I'm going to hand this over to Forrest.
So my religion, as I said, comes from the fantasy world that I am making. This is a religion reptilian race, and if you were wondering, yes, that is an Argonian from Elder Scrolls. Anyways, in this race, their gods, their high god comes down to perform what is called the Ascendance Ritual, which is when a normal Dargon or a chosen Dargon ascends to become a god and replace a god who was killed. In this ritual, what happens is the high god will come down, and then the chosen and the high god will then both cut their hand open and drain blood into a bowl. The chosen will then get on knee and raise the bowl up above him, and as the high god washes his face with their blood. The chosen will then put the bowl down and stand up and take the hand of the high god. And they will both ascend together to their equivalent of heaven. And the newfound God will then take his place on the throne of the God who he is replacing. And his new brothers and sisters will feast in his name. Thank you for coming tonight. This was the social studies.
A dyslexic, agnostic insomniac stays up all night wondering if there really is a dog. With all your studying in religion, answer me this. If God was to sneeze, what would you say to them? No. I didn't say every joke I had to get. Okay, I gotta do just a little technical transfer real quick. Just 1 second. Just talk amongst yourselves. But 3 of our students were actually living together for the past semester. In a form of fundraising, we decided to hit reality television. I really thought it would turn out much better than it did. But I think maybe you should just see it for yourselves. You hit the black hot button, Joe?
Believe me, I know. My name is Daniel Rommel, and I teach math at Explorations Academy. I thrive on it. This isn't a game. This is the true story of
How can you hit the lights?
I've never seen anything like this before in the mansion. I've got to get to the bottom of this. Allie? Yeah? Do you have an estimation? Yeah. Allie knows she's not allowed to do math in the mansion. I can't wait till Sophia hears about this. It's not math. That's baloney, Allie. All I've heard from you is baloney. I can't believe he's been mixed he is. Ever since he got here, he's been acting like he runs the place.
What's going on here? Something's definitely going down in the mansion.
Sophia, can I talk to you for a moment?
Yeah.
I got home from getting the groceries, and I found that Allie was doing math.
In the mansion?
Yeah, in the mansion.
We have to do something. We can't let this happen here. Oh my god, I'm totally freaking out. I have no idea what they're saying. I don't know why Allie is doing that. I can't believe some of the decisions that girl makes. Allie, will you please step forward? I think it's best that we have a little chat. What is this?
It came to our attention you've been doing something without our knowledge.
What? We found her math stash. It was on the table with it. I can't believe they're doing this to me. I have put my heart and soul into this mansion, and now they backstab me like this. Thanks, guys. Look, it's not math, I swear.
What's this? The parallel postulate? Can't you prove that opposite angles and opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal to this? You've got to be kidding.
I think it's about time I told them the truth. I have a confession. I've been doing trigonometry.
Can someone please tell me what's going on?
Well, you guys were fixing the sewing machine. I was in the closet solving triangles using the law of cosines.
Do you know how much trouble you can get us in? Oh, yes. Sophia used to be my friend. I thought I could trust her. Apparently not.
Wow, I thought I was the only one doing that.
So, let me get this straight. I discovered that Allie was doing that. And now I know that Sophia's doing that too?
The answer to your question is yes.
Well, Allie, will you please step forward? You say that you weren't doing math. Why should I believe you?
Well, all you need to do the things I was doing are Euclid's 5 postulates. That you can take 2 points and make a line, that a line can be infinite, that a circle is a collection of points around a center line, or a center point, that all right angles are equal, and yes, the parallel postulate, of course.
Thank you. You may not step back. Sophia, please step forward. You said that you were in the closet, but we were fixing the sewing machine, doing trigonometry. What sort of things were you doing exactly?
I was solving regular triangles using the law of sines and the law of cosines. The law of sines states that the sine of angle A over the length of its opposite side is equal to the sine of angle B over the length of its opposite side as well. Knowing this, I can solve for the missing variable and solve the triangle. Although it is only useful for triangles where a known angle has a known opposite side, the law of cosines is the equation c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine c. And by plugging the known information into the equation, you can solve for the triangle.
You may not step back. Allie, what sort of things did you deduce with this logic?
Who does Finn think he is? This isn't like an interrogation. 5 the map. Finn, why can't you just let it slide? It's like you have to be the ruler of the mansion. So that's it. I'm leaving. I can't believe my friend would backstab me like this. I thought I could trust Finn. Apparently not. Now look what you've done. Not to mention he's destroyed us.
Last week, I asked you not to do any math in the mansion, but you did it anyways. It's exactly what I wanted you to do. So here's the deal. I shut it down.
What do you mean?
I'm shutting down the fact that I'm shut down. It's unshut it. And I don't think we learned a valuable lesson here. Nothing can drive us apart.
J.O., we do have one follow-up. Do you want to hit the blackout again? I'm glad that things turned out happily, and we do have next week's sequel that we need to show you real quick. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed the cluster presentation. Next we have one of the most important parts of the ceremony, obviously, is the recognizing of the scholars, and we're going to do this by individual faculty members. It's the charm ceremony, where we basically celebrate each other and our accomplishments throughout the quarter, have words of affirmation. To start off, we're going to have Frank, and he's going to talk about Saren and Evan.
How many times did he turn this? Oh, Evan. Wow. How much can you possibly pack into? Possibly pack into 14 years. Early on in the fall term, just not long after we got started, this poor fellow showed up with a smile and a show-me attitude, both of which spelled something on the spectrum from enthusiasm to chaos. Now, while Evan might need to take time to plan his questions before he asks them and prepare the comments, he cheerfully contributes to the discussions that we have. And you know what? X-nay all that. The adolescent mind is what it is. I applaud it. And I must translate what I'm hearing or find a better way to explain a topic. Keep the enthusiasm, Evan, is refreshing. applaud everybody again at the end. Sarah, wow. Don't have an uncle. Yeah, talk about first impressions. When Sarah was introduced to me, I put a face to the person I'd heard about, and I met a walking repository of life skills. If Sarah were put in a chopper and taken to the most remote location imaginable, he would suss out the ecosystem and one day adapt to it and serve all his needs. You know that's true. Add to that a social sense brimming with respect and sincerity. I truly wish I had your educational background.
Next up, can we get Jenny O'Toole to the stage, please?
Alright, I'm a lot shorter. Alright, this is for Shay. Or Kaya. Who's your next time? Shay, come on up here. Who's next? I've been with Shay in Spanish class recently, and Shay has the most vivid imagination. And she loves exercising her creativity. She is such a kind and thoughtful person, one who is always engaged in conversation and eager to laugh. She pushes herself so hard, and I very, very much admire her genuine spirit. Amelia. Amelia shows so much wonder and curiosity about everything, especially people around her. There is so much light and so much joy. She asks very thoughtful questions and engages everyone with her performing spirit. I am really excited for what Amelia is going to do in her future.
Allie Mack, you want to come up next, please?
Miles has this unbelievable ability to express what's on his mind, like, so articulately. When we went on the backpacking trip, he impressed all of us and was the one person who was like leading the way, teaching us all about the ecosystem. And he brings so much energy to this school. Logan has opened up and grown so much this semester, and I think I drive him a little bit crazy. But he brings so much energy to this school, and it's so polite. He's always the first person to volunteer and help us out, and we just so appreciate everything that he does. Martha. I'm so impressed by how much grace she shows and how much poise she shows in everything that she does. And I can't imagine how this community would be without her. And Tara. So Tara is extremely resilient, and it's so fun to have her as a student. She has shown so much leadership this year, especially in my class. She actually taught 2 of our evolution classes this year, and it was really fun to facilitate and work with her on that. But I'm a little bit worried because I think all the students actually like it better when she teaches class. Thank you, Tara.
Miss Marley, you want to come up here?
Tall people, I never feel short until I follow these people on stage. I'm going to start with Josie. Our newer student came to us from Meridian High. She's already shown so much maturity and drive, which is awesome as a teacher. She brings a super positive attitude to the school and our classes. My favorite part about being her teacher is that almost every assignment I've gotten from her comes with original art. Casey also joined us recently for the most recent unit. She brings a ton of creativity to her work here, and also I'm starting to see kind of a wicked sense of humor. And so I'm super excited to see what sort of clever mischief she brings to explorations in the future. Forrest, you may have noticed, brings the best and most enthusiasm to the sometimes gruesome rituals of Norse mythology and Dark. We have great conversations about the books he's read, the games he's played, the things that he has kind of invested, the things that he's invested in. I appreciate his willingness to share these stories that he gets excited about with me and with the class as well. Thank you so much.
Sure, people come. I'm just kidding. Okay. Can I get my man Finnegan up here? Finnegan has such an enthusiasm for learning. I greatly look forward to see what path he chooses in academia, because if he transfers his hard work and scrutiny into any realm, that I honestly believe there's nothing he won't be able to accomplish. I challenge him to stay humble and eager as he makes his decision, and I'm greatly looking forward to the time where I can brag that I got to teach you. interest with Sophia, and I'm glad to have her in my class. Sophia is the epitome of why I love teaching. She's a little shy, and sometimes I have to coax out and finesse a response from her, but I see the learning happening, and I see the aha moments, and when those lights go off, it's really no better feeling. So I want to say thank you. And as a thanks, perhaps I could share a nugget of message with you to continue. Continue to trust yourself and believe in yourself, because you are capable of so much. And I'm excited to continue to grow with you. We get Joe to the stage, please. On a daily basis, I look forward to catching up with Joe. He's been a wonderful addition to our student body. He's a very funny dude. And we share our common love of video games, Battlefront in particular. But it's also been a real pleasure watching his academic progress throughout the year. I wonder if he even recognizes how smart he actually is. Although he might not be, Although he might be a Husky fan, I'm a Cougar fan, I grew up in Eastern Washington. I can't wait to start complying a resume for his college of choice in the future, which he wants to apply to UW. And I hope he remembers to ask me for a letter of recommendation. And finally, we have Allie. Allie represents all the best parts that EA has to offer. It's been such a privilege sharing the classroom with you. You are so intelligent and determined and independent and most importantly real. I love going to Mount Baker during your performances and finding any way to casually bring up anybody who will give me 10 seconds to listen that I'm your teacher. You give so much of yourself here. We are so lucky to have you. I am so proud of the things you've accomplished, and I eagerly await your next adventure. Thank you. Okay, that's going to be the end of the ceremony. Tanya, Kathy, is there anything you wanted to add?
Thank you for coming. Enjoy the
Exploration Academy staff. Although it sounds so formal, I feel like we're all family. But thank you so much for all the love and dedication that you give to the school, to our kids, and to our families. You mean the world to us. So.
And lastly, I think maybe the students and the scholars, we can give a round of applause for the big
I want to appreciate all the teachers for giving us a hand. You might not be able to see it.
All right, we got one of the hot teachers and help yourself
The hand. I selected the pins and I needed to find something that either represented media, that was really difficult, or the meaning and purpose cluster. And I chose the hand because it represents our humanity, our generosity, our community together, being in service and being connected with one another and finding our own meaning and purpose in life. So that is the meaning of the hand. Very well.